Well, hello, hello, hello. I don't know what just happened there. We didn't get one for our main screen, our introduction, Alex.
I was looking elsewhere. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, the main screen didn't show anything, but that's okay. That's what happens when you are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Great Convos, where we always say whether you agree or disagree, you can always find great convos. It's good to be back again on another Monday afternoon here in Toronto. Wherever you are, good morning, good evening, good night. We're proud that you are here with us. You could have been anywhere, but you're here, and we thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Alex?
so much. Well, today, and just like every week this season, we talk about the power of your voice. Yeah, Roger, did you know your voice has power?
Oh, yes, it
Y-
does.
Yeah, that's why you use it. That's the reason
That's
why
why
you use it.
we use it, right? We use it in our own format that we have here. But yes, no doubt about it. Your voice has power. This is what we've been talking about all this season in different ways, various uh, people that we've had on the show,
Mhm.
various topics that we talked about. But today might be one of those that are going to be a little bit sensitive, I'd say,
Uh,
Alex. And I think we need
Maybe,
to.
perhaps, because we're talking about fearless voices, and specifically when speaking out can become risky. Because sometimes speaking up can be brave or brilliant. That other times it comes at a cost. So,
Mhm.
what do we mean? It's because sometimes there are some whistleblowers or activists who use their voice for change. We've been talking about change this season,
Yep.
but whenever you do speak up, there's a risk of having blowback. And sometimes that can really come at a high risk. So we're going to give some examples today, Roger, and we were talking about it backstage and wondering,
Yeah.
man, if we talk, am I really going to give this example if I don't agree with that person? Yeah, why not? Because because we don't agree with someone doesn't mean we should silence them or not even talk about them. So
Right.
Roger, just because we talk about someone doesn't mean we agree with them, right?
Of course. And this is what this episode is all about. It's just talking about and highlighting some of the people, various people, and there's many of them. Let's keep it real. There's many of them. And if you know of someone, one of our listeners here who know of someone who has spoken up against injustice or has spoken out because they feel that it was necessary for a change, yeah, put it in the chat. We may not know everybody, but we're going to list or talk about a few people that have come to mind that we have seen who have done it, whether right or wrong, but they have chosen to speak their mind, to stand up for something that they felt in their heart of hearts was important. And this is what we always say, like, and Alex, we were talking about this, but the reality is sometimes, in fact, I'd say most times, that's what initiates change,
Mhm.
right? It may come on the backs of someone doing something that we didn't expect, or that at the moment when we heard it happening, we thought it was crazy, it was ludicrous, or maybe we agreed with them and others didn't. But somehow change happened.
Well, it's certain that if you have a very strong opinion and that you share it, you will
Hmm.
get praise and pushback. Well,
Yep.
Linda Marie Miller is one of the examples that is given by Kathy right now, and it's someone who we've mentioned many times. Yeah, she does speak out on what she truly believes,
Yes.
knowing that she will get pushback.
Yes. Yes. Most definitely. It's crazy because we have obviously Linda Marie in our circle that we know, but who are other people, Alex, that you know that has had moments in history?
Well, let's we can give some examples that are would be very well known because they've been also put on the small screen or big screen.
Mhm.
One thing is um, one thing that I would like to specify. When we wrote the title for this episode, we titled it "Fearless Voices." However,
Mhm.
it doesn't mean that people who use their voice don't have fear. Sometimes it can be
Right.
the opposite. It's not for anything. It's not for nothing that I wrote this here under my name, fearful guy, because there's always when we do take risks, there is that fear. What will happen? What will my friends think? What will my colleagues think? What will happen? Can I lose my job or my well being? sometimes everything can be put on the line. Sometimes it can be even worse. Some people risk their life, right? So let's give some examples. I've got the name of Edward Snowden. Does that ring a bell?
Yes, please explain.
A whistleblower at the NSA, National Security Agency, who many years ago revealed that the NSA was listening in to American citizens, probably against normal rules and laws in the country. And by exposing that, not only did he, I mean, it's one thing to expose things for, as you say, for positive change, but by doing that, he also was doing something illegal in the eyes of his own country. So he's now living in exile since that time, and cannot return to the United States.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, right? That's unbelievable. That now he has to live this way when he was trying to, in his mind, do something that was for the better of the citizens in general.
Right. And even that, what you've just said, maybe someone would disagree with what you've just said. No, it was wrong because it's for national security that that the NSA was acting in this way, and he should not have done this.
Right.
But, like, you don't have to agree with what he did or what he continues to do, but he certainly did something that most of us would not have dared to do. Right.
Correct. Yep. And we've seen this. We've seen it from the extreme levels as well, right, Alex? And then there are those that do it very quietly, and still their voices have power. And I look at what, again, Kathy, shout out to Kathy for sending some of the names here, but Nelson Mandela, right? For many years incarcerated, and then afterwards came out and was very expressive in how to change the way the world saw apartheid and changing that mentality in South Africa, right? There's another one, Martin Luther King, that she brings up as well, who we talked about with his speech, but the reality is very quietly, not making, what would you say? It was a peaceful demonstration.
Right. I wouldn't say it was very quiet, Roger.
No, not quite. A very peaceful demonstration is what I wanted to say, and trying to make change. Right now, some of these people end up losing their lives for change.
Right. And even through the loss of their lives or well-being, it at least sparks a movement that can continue even when they are not able to. I will say it this way: their voice continues on through others.
Right. This is a great topic all around. We can go from different ways. And Alex, why don't you even list some of the others who we have talked about and their voices that were very, very prominent within history?
Well, I guess we can also mention people who use their voice metaphorically, that use it through action rather than words.
Yes.
Hey, you remembered, because you're older than I am, you remembered the
Thanks, Alex. Just
the
put
event
that out there.
the event at Tiananmen Square in Beijing, in China, 1989.
Yes, the infamous picture of the person, the student, standing in front of the tank. Right
now, because of the nature of the regime in China, I don't think anybody knows really what happened to that particular student and what happened after that picture was taken. But until today, it remains controversial in China. It's not even certain if the people are aware of what happened in reality. But at least he and the other students around him sparked that movement of, wait a minute, maybe what's going on here is not right. And he knew he was risking his life by doing it. It's hard to know. It's hard to believe anything else, that he was truly risking his life by being physically in front of a tank.
Right. And then there are some that don't even use their voice at all, right, Alex? And still their silence is deafening. And we've talked about this incident here, but also I look at it from I'm a sports guy, so I wanted to also bring in someone like Colin Kaepernick, who, for those who don't know, instead of standing for the national anthem, took a stance by kneeling during the national anthem to protest against police brutality and racial injustice. And here's a person who didn't make a lot of noise about it, but felt that this would be a nice way to do it, and instead was ridiculed and, for the most part, exiled from football because of his actions. All right.
Right.
And now, whether you agree or disagree on what he was doing, the point is that here's another example of someone who said, is the risk better than the reward? Right. And he figured that, you know what? Yeah, I have to do this in order to have the conversation happen, whether it continues on my name or if it just continues moving forward. That's how he felt in that time.
Yeah, Roger, I think this is a great example of doing something beyond the words that you use. I mean, I believe that after all the movement and kneeling for the national anthem and what came after, then he also used words. However, it was sparked by a very visible gesture. He could have just talked about police brutality and racial injustice, but by physically kneeling during the national anthem, he knew that was going to be controversial. I can't believe that he would have thought, oh no, it's going to be fine. Right. There won't be any pushback. And it got people talking about a particular issue. Sometimes you need these grand gestures just to have people talk about it. Now, was it disrespectful for the national anthem and for his own country? Maybe. That's what many people believed. Was it the wrong thing to do? Maybe, but it got the ball rolling and the people talking.
Yeah, definitely. Man, this is again, for anybody who's listening, please understand we're just bringing these up. If you have any comments, please share them with us here. We would love to know. It's not a matter of us sitting here and saying, yes, I totally agree with what he did. It was necessary. I think what we're trying to show here more than anything else is that voices are having a voice to make change is necessary. And sometimes it may come at a risk of being vilified. It may come at a risk of being glorified. But at the end of the day, sometimes those types of risks are necessary. We have our names that we always put up here. I put up Speak Up Guy, you put up Fearful Guy. And for me, when I say Speak Up Guy, I will speak about things if it comes to, if it's something that I feel necessary to speak up on. Will I talk about every single thing and be an activist in some way, shape, or form? Maybe I won't be. But sometimes if it hits you in the heart and you say you need to speak up on it, I feel it's necessary to do so.
Right. It certainly is easier to stay silent and to remain unseen. It's probably the easiest thing to do. But some people, for some people, that's just not what should be done. And I think there's probably some sort of fiber or something in the DNA of certain individuals that make them speak up, knowing even through the fear that there is that risk. I'm thinking of Malala Yousafzai.
Yes.
Now, the young girl who, as a teenager, I think she was 15 years old, spoke out in favor of girls' education in Afghanistan. And for that, she was shot by the Taliban. She survived, eventually won the Nobel Peace Prize, but she knew, I suppose she knew the risks. I mean, when you're somewhere where they tell you you cannot go to school and you say, no, I'm going to go anyway, and the people who tell you that you can't go to school are armed with machine guns, you know there's a risk. So is she polarizing? Maybe in certain certain milieux, certain countries, certain peoples. But she remained consistent in her mission, even after and even fully knowing the risks. She continued sharing her message and sharing her voice.
Right, and that's the key right there, right? It's that, and I was just going to say from that, maybe sometimes we don't go into it even thinking always logically, right? You might just, in the moment, you feel like I got to speak up about this, and then it turns into the snowball effect, and you before you know it, you're in the midst of controversy or other situations that you didn't expect to have happen, but you just wanted to speak up about something. So it's not necessarily that these individuals wake up that morning and say, you know what, I've got a plan. I'm going to go through all of this. I'm going to write this out. This is how it's going to go. And I'm going to go out there and do it. Sometimes it's just, you woke up and it just hit you. Right.
That's a great point, Roger. And I'm going to go back to sports for you. Tennis. In tennis, there's a Novak Djokovic, who was one of maybe now the most decorated tennis player in history. In 2022, in full COVID-19 pandemic, there was the Australian Open tournament. He had won multiple times before, but he was not allowed to enter the country because he did not have the vaccine. And the rules of Australia were, if you want to come to our country, you need to be vaccinated. He chose not to get the vaccine. He was denied entry. He could not participate. And he got blowback because of it. But I don't think his initial intention was, I'm going to speak against the vaccine. It was just for him, his own choice. I don't want to invent anything for him, but I don't believe that, and he has spoken out about this later, about how it was traumatic in a sense, that he was not allowed to go into the country. And he was ridiculed and labeled as anti-vax when all he wanted to do was live his own life and play tennis. So he became a polarizing figure just because of a personal and quiet choice.
Let me ask you a question, Alex, on that. And I mean, I guess we won't have the answer, but let's just talk about it from just our opinions. Do you often think that some of these individuals then sit back later and go, should I have done what I did? Right? Or do they have moments where they basically dig their heels in and say, no, I'm going to keep going? Now, yes, there are those ones, but I wonder if they're in the mindset of these individuals, in the prominent ones in history, or just that local mom that says that, you know what's going on in the school here in my city is not right. You know what I mean? Do we have moments where they say to themselves, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that today? Right?
Yeah. Well, great question to reflect upon. I do believe that those who speak up, their conscience and their conscience and their true beliefs do not, most of the time, do not regret it. There's more regret in staying silent. There's a Canadian example of Joanna Gualtieri, who was a whistleblower, and she actually helped push for federal whistleblower protection for laws in Canada. She was talking about the working conditions in Canadian embassies, and here's what she said. I took note of this. It cost her career, but she says that the price of silence would have been worse than losing her career. So even though it's difficult in the moment, and she probably went through very difficult years, it could have been worse for her, knowing that she could have done something, and stayed silent.
Right, and this is also a factor, right? There are many of us that probably sit silent, knowing that something is happening, and then afterwards we're like, I wish I'd said something. I wish I had said something. And here are those individuals that are actually doing so and saying something, and then there's that blowback. Oh boy, what if they don't like what I'm saying? But here's the other thing, and we talked about this. No matter what you choose to stand up for, you will always have those who will support, and you will genuinely get those who will be against you. It is inevitable. It's going to happen. It's very rare that a major change that will change the complexity of a community, a country, the world, will ever go unscathed with someone who feels negative about it. And so you have to decide whether or not you are willing to take that risk, to stand up and to share your voice, or to sit in silence and watch as no change occurs.
Right. Now, with that said, Roger, it's not for nothing that I'm the fearful guy. There are some things that I will not express out publicly for fear either of losing friendships or being questioned by people in the community, or at the risk of my career. So I might not share something, especially if it has nothing to do with my everyday life or my career.
Of course.
So I think it's up to each of us to determine how can I say this, the level of comfort that we have for speaking out on something we truly believe. So that might be a question that we can also, I'll leave that to you, Roger, but to everyone listening, what's your level of comfort, or to what are you willing to risk for change, for something you truly believe in?
Yeah, maybe that is the question that we leave. Good question to leave for our audience as we wrap up today. Think about it. We would always encourage you to continue this conversation amongst your friends, your family, and the community, and to see what are other people's opinions and ideas when it comes to something like this. It's a very, very touchy subject, but one that we are here on Great Convos to talk about.
And again, it doesn't need to be like a global platform. Sometimes it's just around you, but your voice always has power if you're willing to risk using it. Sometimes we determine, do we have the courage to speak out with the expression, speak your truth where it matters? As you said, Roger, it takes that for change. Then the world or even your community will not change quietly. It takes those voices.
Yes, it does. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on another episode of Great Convos. Again, we encourage you to continue the conversation wherever you may be. And as we always say here, as we start and end our conversation, whether you agree or disagree, you can always find Great Convos. Have yourself a wonderful week and keep the conversation flowing.
Bye-bye.
My mouth is hurting.
Hurry. I'm just trying to find the background here. Have I found it? Yes, there it is. All right. Now we can end the stream.